Hi everybody, it's Lynn from Lynn's Crafts Designs. I'm coming by today to make a bezel for this little piece right here that we did. Now, I know I'll get lots of questions about this, but this is just a silicone stamp from, it's actually from Oriental Trading Company. And I've had it for years. Not kidding, years. I don't even know if they still have it. Oh, this is a piece of Cernit gold. Now, y'all know I have a love-hate relationship with the gold and the silver because, in my opinion, that isn't gold. But, this is just a text stamp. Any old text stamp will work. Now, I know a lot of people teach when you roll against a stamp, it pushes the clay ahead of the stamp. That is true if you put too much pressure. And that's not saying it won't still happen. But the point is not to be able to read that when you're done anyway. Let's look and see. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now, you've got mica powder. Well, I'm not saying you've got mica powder, but you can use mica powder. Or, if I could find it. Oh, of course, the last one. This is Alumilite bronze metallic powder. Hear me say this. This is not the same as bronze, powdered bronze, which you would do cold casting with resin. This is a metallic bronze powder. Okay, now, like I said, you can use plain old gold mica powder and get the same basic effect. Okay? Rubberized texture stamp, gold mica powder, bronze metallic metallic powder. Then, this is just a little, it's actually clear translucent Sculpey. Bacon Bond would work just as well. Okay. This has been setting for too long. Now, I've had TLS, translucent liquid sculpey, that I've literally had for years, and it has never separated on me like that. So I don't know if this is just their new formulation or what, but it stinks, and I am not happy about that. So we're going to not use it. I got through years of my life without using Bond. Alright. Okay. Oh. Man, that's not pleasant. I'm pretty sensitive to smells as it is. Ooh, ugh. Alright. Now to cut this, I'm going from the edge of the stone and pulling out. Now don't look at the top and the bottom, but that gives you a pretty accurate straightness to follow. Alright, now the top and the bottom of my stone are curved, so I'm going to kind of meet that, let's say. Let's look at that and see what we think. Okay, might be a little further left than it is right. That's not too bad. And now what you can do is I can recycle my trimmings here. Just going to form them back together, and then I'm going to roll that. Alright. Now what I like to do is I like to take my stamping block. That will just ensure that you've got a round form. Alright. I'm going to take and cut one end of this off at an angle. Now, generally, I try to start with that cut edge at the bottom. I'm not very happy with the shape. So I've got my stamping block again. Just gonna true up some of those edges a little bit. Okay. Now, without going all the way down, alright. Okay. Looks pretty good. I just take just a little bit more of this bronze powder that I've gotten out under my fingernails and everywhere else. Alright. Now, as far as a hanger on this particular piece, I'm going to do what I would call a hidden bail. In other words, I'm going to bake this just like this, and then I will embed a jump ring between the first layer and a second layer. Alright? Not only will it beef up what you're working on, but it will also give you a finished back. Alright. There we go. Now that is with the sides finished a little bit as well. Although, like I said, the mica powder in this instance is totally up to you. It's just because I don't like the color of gold. Okay? I'll bake this for an hour. I'm at 275, and then I'll be back. Okay, now I've got another piece of the gold Cernit rolled out on a 4, stamped with the texture stamp, and then put a little of the metallic bronze powder on here. This is what it looks like out of the oven. It's the same. Now the back is very slick. I did find my bacon bond, and I believe the reason it doesn't separate is because I store it on its end. Always have. Even my big giant bottle of TLS is stored on its end. Alright. Now it is thick, but I want it to be thick. So it will be hard to squeeze. And I'm going to say this just like I always do. Resist the urge. Resist the urge to smooth all that out. Think of it like carpenters who are finishing out a bathroom, who have to hang one of those mirrors on the wall. And I'm not talking about the kind that have the little clips around them and stuff. I'm just talking about the kind they glue on the wall. When they take their liquid nails, they just do a design. They do not spread it out. The reason they don't spread it out is because when you put that mirror up against the wall, you want the air space. Because when it squishes the glue, that air space creates almost a vacuum, which helps to hold the mirror in place. Now, I want this to be straighter. But I want it to fit on here as well. Alright. Don't worry if it gets deformed out of whack and stuff. This is just the back. Alright. Then, grab your craft knife and just trim it to fit. Now, of course, this will require some sanding. You just can't get around that. I mean, you can, but alright. Now, there. There we go. Alright. Now, okay, now we just need to decide which is the top and the bottom. Of course, I did finish the bezel edge to stop at the bottom. Now, you could use a jump ring. I've just got one of these glue-on leaf pails. I'm going to fill up the depression with a little bit of Bacon Bond, and then I'm going to put a little on the back. Okay, now I'm going to take my craft knife and open up a little spot for this bale. Alright, something like that. Now, the scooped out side will face the front. That rounded side will face the back. Alright, put it in place. Barely, using a light touch. Alright. Now, just using a metal knitting needle or something of that type, toothpick, pointy tool, pokey tool. I want to make sure that bale is straight. Alright, now I'm just going to bake this again. 275. This time I'm just going to do it for about 30 minutes. This backing layer is all we've got to worry about. Okay, here it is out of the oven. Now, we're going to do some antiquing. And for antiquing, I'm just using plain old acrylic paint. In this case, it's Americana, and it's black. But keep in mind, you don't have to do black. If your stone was a different color, you might could use brown or some patina type colors. But the first important thing before you go slathering acrylic paint on your freshly baked polymer clay, first of all, this mica powder will need to be sealed. Secondly, polymer clay is a mildly porous medium. So if you just put black acrylic paint on there, it's gonna absorb into the surface a little bit, and it won't wipe back off near as easy as if you coat it first. Seal it first. I know you're not supposed to shake it, but it's a gloss sealer, and if you don't mix it up a bit, all of that gloss medium is at the bottom. So yeah, you won't get any of it. This is a Valentine, which you'll find in the flooring and furniture refinishing type section of your big box hardware store. It is pricey. In my area, at least, you can only buy it by the gallon, which is like 80 bucks, or it was before all of this craziness happened. This came from one of the clay stores. I don't think they carry it anymore. This is Valentine water-based sealer. Used to be called Diamond Flecto or something similar. A gloss water-based sealer, not a spray. Sprays come with their own set of hazards. Sprays don't typically work well with Polymerclay. Alright, so this is just a, well, it would be if it was dry. It's just a soft, fluffy-ish brush. And yes, I'm still suffering from this darn upper respiratory infection. That part's all gone, but just the not being able to talk is... Okay, so third point. I chose not to buff the stone since I was gonna have to glaze it all anyway. Now, keep in mind when I talk about a flood coat, alright, this is a terrible flood coat. There we go. It's got a few too many bubbles. Anyway, what you want to concentrate on is the bezel. And you want to coat it front and back. Well, sides and okay, now I'm just going to let this dry. And when I say dry, I don't just mean dry to the touch. I'm going to let it dry for at least an hour, okay? Because I want that Valentine to cure up. Before I put the black acrylic paint on, okay? So, just be patient and let this completely dry. Like I've said before, acrylic paint, just like most of your other mediums, does have a cure time. It's usually at least an overnight. If you want that acrylic paint to really be set, okay? Now, baking it, all of that other stuff will help it to cure. But in this instance, being clear, if you bake it before it's completely dry, it does have the possibility to bubble up, and that's not what you want on Polymerclay. It does have its places. Okay, so I'll be back once this is dry, front and back, and then we'll continue on. Okay? A little worried about. I'm actually going to put another coat, just a barely on this stone, because my brush did leave some drag marks. Okay. Now I'm just going to let that set and dry. Does still have a few inclusions in that top coat on that stone, but we'll deal with that later. Alright? Set it aside and let it dry. Okay, now we're all dry. It's dry and it's set. Not necessarily completely cured though. So don't resist the urge. Don't scratch it, because it's still curing, so it will scratch off right now. Alright, I'm going to take my paintbrush, which is still got water on it, and that's what I want. Shake my paint a little bit. Acrylic paint does separate. Okay, sometimes it takes Herculean strength to get the lid off these. I'm terrible about cleaning the tops of my paint. Now, I just want, it's just a silicone mold. I just want some, and then I'm going to spray it with a little water. I just want a wash of acrylic paint. Now, this is not a satin or multi-surface paint. Those will not work as well. As far as coverage goes, you'll be working all week. Now, over gesso, that would work fine. Alright. Now this side didn't get impressed as much with the stamp. Alright. Now, I've got a very soft terry cloth towel off camera over here. Okay. It doesn't look like much, but it does make a difference. You can see how that yellow of the gold clay is really showing through right here. So that antiquing just knocks it back a bit. So let's do the back. Got some thicker parts of the paint there. Now you can make your wash a little bit thicker and get a little bit better adhesion. Alright, once again. I didn't necessarily wipe as much as I did just pat it off. Okay, now we're going to let that dry, and then I'm going to hit it with a little bit of wax, a little bit of Finnabar wax. Finnabar's wax. Now, I could just hit it with some Renaissance wax right now, and that would give it a little bit of shine back to it. But we are going to put another coat of sealer on. Alright, so I'm just going to let this dry for 5 minutes or so, maybe 10 minutes, and I'll be back. Okay. This is the Finnabar wax by Prima. They've got a whole line of colors, patina colors, rust colors, metallic colors, opal magic colors, and y'all have seen me use these a lot. Similar to Inca Gold. Has a wonderful, I'll say wonderful, it has the WD-40 smell, I always say. Okay, I'm going to choose whatever has the shortest fingernail, because I really don't like getting this under my nails. Alright. Now this won't be exactly the same color. almost messed up the whole thing. I don't know why I can't hold on to it. It's not like it's slippery or anything. I guess it is. Okay. It really seems like nothing, but it just adds the touch. Oh, I didn't do the back. I didn't do the part that was easy to hold on to. Try to keep your finger flat against the surface of the polymer clay. Okay, that is a much more convincing gold in my opinion. Okay, I'm going to let this dry. It really only takes 10 minutes or so, but I'm going to let it dry for an hour. Then I'm going to be back and put the final coat of sealer on. Last coat of sealer. Again, this is the Valentine water-based gloss sealer. You can pick it up at the hardware store normally. I'm going to start with the bag so I don't forget it. Yes, it's getting very low. Now, I used to use Rust-Oleum gloss water-based sealer. I used that for years, and when I run out of this, that's probably what I'll go back to. Unless, you know, normally I would just polish the stone. Now, since I'm doing the front and the back, I can hang this up to dry. Alright. There we go. I'm just gonna let that dry, and then I could put some chain on and call it done, or a leather cord, or whatever your choice is. Alright, so I'm gonna let it dry, and then I'll be back the last time. Okay. There we go. A bezel. And the stone we created in the other video. Put them together, and there's what you can get. Your color choice combination. The possibilities are endless. You can use whatever stamp you want to impress the clay. Lots and lots of mixed media works with Polymerclay really well. Anything from a crackle glaze to gold leafing. Like I said, the possibilities are endless. So, thank y'all so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye for now.